for me when I look back. And during COVID, not that it was a very, very difficult time for a lot of us, but I think the worst people who were affected were who lost their loved one.
Hello everyone. Today we have with us a leader who wears multiple hats. She is the founder, she is an author, a TEDx speaker, and most importantly, a grief advocate. Yes, a very interesting hat that she is wearing today. We welcome Ms. Divya Gupta Kotawala. Welcome, ma'am. How have you been?
Thank you so much, Pooja, and so happy to be on this platform. Thank you for having me.
A pleasure to have you here. So, multiple hats you are wearing, taking care of everything. You are the founder of House of Co, an author, a TEDx speaker, a grief advocate. Define us and share with us your journey. How did you start, and how's everything going on across all the field?
So I think my journey, my life is nothing less than like a miracle, because just when I look back, I was a very, very different person 5 years back. A very typical Delhiite, living a very comfortable, happy-go-lucky life. And then, as many say, COVID changed everything for me. And before that, my life is literally, it's like, before and after for me when I look back. And during COVID, not that it was a very, very difficult time for a lot of us, but I think the worst people who were affected were who lost their loved one. Because even today, when we think back about it, losing somebody is a completely different feeling. But losing somebody without a closure, without a proper goodbye, it kind of haunts you forever. Even today, like just like half an hour back, somebody did that template on Instagram which said, share a picture of 2021, a memory of 2021. And I was seeing that template for good 4-5 days, but I was just ignoring it. It didn't click me. But today, when I was just sitting, I realized that was the last when I saw my father. And obviously that year, that moment will always be so special for me, because after that, life has moved on so fast, but it's without him. So losing him to COVID really made me very, very, pushed me in a very dark phase of grief. And I didn't know how to deal with it. And that's when I got this divine sign that I need to celebrate my father's life in a very unique way. And I never thought that I had it in me, that strength, that madness, in simple words, what you call that junoon, which I don't know where it came from me. So that's why I said it was a divine sign. And I told my family that I don't want a typical prayer meeting for my father. I want to write a book and I want to launch it on his first death anniversary, which everybody in my family thought was the first sign of depression. Because you'll be very surprised to know, Pooja, that till that day, even till today, I have never read a book. I cannot read books. I'm not a reader. So coming from somebody who has nothing to do with the field of books, literature, no interest in reading, how can you write a book?
Right.
But as God would have guided me, I just closed myself, disconnected myself with the world for 11 months. And that's when my first published book, My Dad's Daughter, was launched. And I actually launched it on my father's first death anniversary. I didn't even let the date change, because it was such an emotional day for me. And I wanted not only me, everybody to come together and celebrate my father's life. And I thought, okay, means this is what I wanted, and I'm so happy that my dad, my gurus and guides have helped me fulfill this dream.
Right.
One thing came to the other, and it's been just a non-stop journey for last 5 years.
Okay, I'll read the book on that note. And I guess the role you cherish most is being your father's daughter.
Yes, more.
So, let's share some pointers over your TEDx talk. How was it? The title, Together Towards Tomorrow. It's really interesting. So, what core message you wanted to give to every person who has experienced grief in some of the other way in their life?
So, before that also, Pooja, I was approached for 2-3 platforms for a TEDx talk. But every time they approached me, the theme was something that I was not resonating with. Because either it was something about innovation, or it was something very education driven, or it was something about, very scientific. So I missed out on a lot of opportunities for TEDx because of the same reason, because I was searching for that perfect theme where I could actually stand on that stage and speak non-stop for 18 minutes. As you know,
Right.
that's the
Right.
standard rule. But when this topic came to me, they had already obviously, done their research, and they had seen my Insta handle and everything. And what they really wanted me to talk about was Together Towards Tomorrow, keeping the focus of human sustainability, a term that I had myself heard for the first time, that okay, it exists. Because for them, human sustainability means holding on to our parents' teachings of today and carrying them forward as a blessing for our tomorrow. So it completely resonated with me, because I've always spoken about, how precious our parents and loved ones are. So when I spoke about that TEDx in that whole auditorium filled with so many young people, so my purpose was only to tell them that, whatever our parents teach us, it's not just for today. It can really play a very important role to shape our tomorrow also, because
Really?
blessings, guidance and learnings go hand in hand as a legacy.
Your approach has been different. You said you want to create a community where people can come together, not just in happiness, but also in pain. So, what does that vision looks to you?
See, it is definitely shaping day by day, because I believe you have to be very, very consistent if you want something. And I have very recently launched my community, which is called From the Heart. And the only reason that I've called it From the Heart is because it actually comes as a piece of my heart for the community. Because I don't want to go and, have events of my own and call people over for coffee and then, just keep doing that networking. I want to go a step beyond that. And this is like an access group where, all the interesting Delhi events that have different verticals. It can be a book read, a book launch, a fashion event, an event about sound healing, mental health, or something related to spirituality, or even charity, donation, social work. So I open a whole horizon for my members, where I offer them different events, access to those events. I push them to go and attend as per their liking, choice and preferences. And during that moment, we inculcate a lot of happy networking. And when people are networking, they do definitely, it happens when they're coming on the same platform with the same mental wavelength. And that's where they are exchanging happiness, they're exchanging pain, they're exchanging grief, and they're realizing nobody's life is eventually perfect. We need to make it perfect, and for that, we need to be together, hold each other strongly.
Right. So that's a wonderful vision and also a very loving name that you have named your community about. But in our society, there is a stigma related to grief. Yes. People are being told to just move on with whatever you are facing on personal front. How do you respond to that?
See, honestly, it's a very, very sensitive topic for me, because you will never understand what pain and grief means until you have experienced it. And I really don't wish it even for people that I don't really like, because you know what it means to be in it. But definitely when I have gone through it, I try, the least you can do is I try and spread the message of empathy, because nobody really needs your sympathy that time. My purpose is whoever I can educate around me, help around me. Even if one person is benefited, I'll feel somewhere down the line my pain has reduced, my grief has gone a little lower. And it will only happen when we get that pattern around us. I will tell somebody, will tell somebody else, because Pooja, I feel unlike on an international level, India as a community still is not very, very supportive of handling grief. You are expected to own for a certain period of time. Then everybody
Right.
wants everything to be okay. You need to do your prayer meetings, you need to do your rituals and get back to life. But life doesn't go on a remote like this. Somebody may take 1 week, somebody may take 1 year. But what happens in that journey? You need a support group.
Moving on to your professional front, you have been running a jewelry brand, so it carries a 300-year-old legacy. How do you balance honoring that heritage while also making it relevant and aspirational if we're talking about today's modern bride? For modern bride, or I would say to anyone.
So first of all, it is my family-owned business. It's a platform where I work with my husband. So this business was not started by me. It's his legacy that I'm a part of. So the first question is that he's there to help me and guide me completely because, for all the multiple hats that I wear. So I'm not 100% in it. But yeah, he takes care of the main roles, which are manufacturing and designing. For me, what I'm more passionate about when it comes to my brand, it's about its social media presence, its marketing, its PR, the collaborations that we do, how we connect to different platforms, to advertise our jewelry. That's where I look into. And yes, ours is a very traditional setup because, as you said, it's a 300-year-old brand. So it's still a very traditional setup. What I bring to it is that modern touch because I realize that, I'm amongst those brides, I'm amongst those young girls moving around, My daughter is a teenager, so I realize what the girls need, what the would-be brides prefer. So I kind of try and make that balance between the brand and the customers. And it's beautiful because, today's brides are so intelligent. They don't want jewelry to be purchased and kept in lockers. They want every piece of jewelry to be an extension of their personality and something that reflects what she actually is. And it's so beautiful that along with a reflection of her parents' legacies or grandparents' memories, all that is still there. But she still wants that unique point which reflects that this piece makes her feel so confident. So I think it's beautiful dealing with them and creating a new masterpiece for them every single day.
Right. So my next question is, I'm very intrigued to know, during all this journey of handling each and everything, passing through a very difficult phase in your life, how do you actually manage without losing yourself?
So, I love myself. I think the first point is that if you're happy from within, if you're confident, everything around you, no matter how wrong it is going, it will always reflect back in a positive way. And I think my only grounding force is a very, very strong spiritual connect with the divine power and my gurus and guides. Because I feel that, they give me that calmness. Like every time life is never easy. Things do go wrong and, problems do come up. It's not easy. But, they are my calming forces because then who do I go to? And once I'm in that space, I'm connected spiritually, I'm following a pattern of, meditation, peace, calmness, it just brings me back much more stronger to deal with everything that is going around me. So I think that is very important, to have a very strong spiritual faith so that, you find answers first within rather than, questioning everybody around you, because definitely life is a mess every day. Nothing's perfect.
Right. You take each day as a different day and definitely starts accordingly. Okay.
Yeah.
So your book reached the top 10 best sellers on Amazon, if I'm not wrong. You have been on the Forbes list of most inspiring leaders, covered by Femina, Hindustan Times, Human of Bombay, and whatnot. Did you ever imagine that in where grief would take you?
Never. Matlab, this was the worst that turned out to be the biggest to me. And I remember the day my book was launched. My subtitle of the book was A Gift to My Hero in Heaven. And somebody in the audience turned and told me that this is not your gift to him. It's his gift to you from heaven. Because what you have transformed is something not less than a miracle. Because you are suffering, you are in pain, but one fine day you decide to transform your biggest pain into a purpose, and then slowly you turn it into a mission. Such things don't happen if somebody is not blessing you from above, no matter how hard you try. So definitely I had never imagined it, but yes, today I completely believe in it, because I know that someone up there is so happy and so proud of whatever is happening. Because at least through me, every time somebody reads my book, the first thing they turn back and tell me is, we wish we had met a man like this. So it's such a proud moment for me that, forget me, I'm irrelevant, I'm just a medium. But is even after 5 years, my father is living through that book in hearts of people that he never met or they never met him. That itself is not less than a miracle.
You are deeply involved with FICCI, BNI, CII, Ladies Who Lead. So, what role does community play in how you show up as an entrepreneur and as a person?
So Pooja, I love networking. I think it's in my DNA that I'm a people's person. You'll never find me. I think the only time in my life when I can actually call myself alone was when I lost dad and I wanted to write this book and I disconnected.
Right.
Otherwise, in my 44 years of my life, I've loved being surrounded by people. I enjoy their company. Earlier, I used to network to enjoy. But now, I network to learn. And there is always so much to take and absorb from people around us, that I feel that, I'm getting so enriched every day with their knowledge. Like somebody the other day said, oh, I never thought you can make such intelligent conversations. Because, life are always very happy-go-lucky with me. I know this one, I know that. And I was happy with it. But today, I tell them that, I want to learn about different professions. I want to learn about different modalities. I want to learn about different things that can help me be my best version. And all these communities that you have mentioned, my only reason is that what can I learn from them and what can I give back to them? Because I come from a space where I'm not a hunter, I want to be a giver. And it is very simple that if you are giving, you will definitely receive back, only on the condition when you're not expecting something. And when you get back, it helps you, learn so much every single day, that for me, no networking is ever less. I just love doing it.
And that shows your personality. I'm very much moved by the way you are, and I'm also proud of you. So, so share your experience about Advaita.
So yeah, I had seen it for the first time maybe last year on Insta, because I'm an Instagram buff. Like, I'm always scrolling, searching, finding new things, and mostly because my life is very oriented by women-driven topics and women supporting women inspiring each other. So obviously the algorithm picks it, like when I search same stuff again and again. So it got flashed on my Insta handle, where I started following it, and I really liked the whole name, the whole concept. So last year, I remember, by the time I realized, it was already, your yearly thing was already done. And
Edition was done, right?
Yes. And this year when I saw it, I did, obviously filled in the nomination, and it was a beautiful experience. Yeah, it was really nice meeting such incredible women in the room who are doing so much in such various fields. And, everybody coming together, being celebrated together. And I remember it was such a rainy day that day. Oh my God.
Right.
Delhi, and it was crazy traffic. But once we were there, it was a very nice and a beautiful evening together.
Right. And it was a pleasure hosting you. One last question. What's the one thing you haven't done yet that you most want to do?
So I have a long list, but I think I really want to write my second book, because I don't want to be a one book author, one book wonder. ski, it's written in a very different purpose, in a very different mood. And everybody who read my book, they said it really, really made them cry. And nobody really knows that I have an extremely, extremely happy side to me, which is very joyful also. So I have a sense of humor. So I want to make people laugh with my second book, and obviously that is not coming right now because life is so busy. And I think that is the only thing that I want to do in life, is that I really want my community to grow and become like a beautiful space for whoever is there, and maybe just keep growing and keep shine more and more